Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on a truly horrible day. 2024 has begun with the most revolting weather here just south of London where I live. But anyway, I'm going to distract myself from that and the prospect of some very cold golf tomorrow by having a look at a puzzle, well, a new puzzle by IcyFruit called Icon. We've had an incredible series of puzzles actually to welcome in 2024 with Fistamafel on New Year's Day and then Potato Head 21 sort of play on Fistamafel yesterday. I don't know whether this one has anything to do with Fistamafel, but I do know that lots of you have recommended this to us, and IcyFruit has been developing the most amazing reputation, just stunning puzzle after stunning puzzle, and this one has a really unusual rule set. It reminds me a bit of the Japanese logic problems Shikaku, which is a problem where you have a grid that you have to divide into rectangles according to certain rules. And in this puzzle, basically, we've got to divide the Sudoku grid into rectangles, each rectangle having two circles in it, and those circles need to say the sort of the height and width of the rectangles that they're part of. So it's a beautiful idea, it really is. This is what we're going to have a go at. It's only got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty as well, which is something of a relief because the 2 puzzles I've done on the channel so far by IcyFruit have been really amazing puzzles, but really difficult, really long videos. So this is what we're going to have a look at, and I'll read you those rules in a moment or two's time. Let me have a look at my list of things that we have to talk about before we kick into the solving. Well, a reminder, if you're a patron of the channel, over on Patreon, we've got our monthly reward, All the Fun of the Fair. Lots of you have been having all the fun of the fair and finishing that already. Very well done. Do have a look at that. You should find much to enjoy. Oh yeah, I was going to just mention, why am I moaning about... I'm not moaning, but tomorrow I am due to play in the President's Putter, which is an annual golf competition for Oxford and Cambridge alumni of a golfing persuasion, and it's always held every January down at Rye Golf Club, which is just a mecca of golf on the south coast of England. And yeah, the only problem with having the President's Putter at this time of the year in England is that the weather can be lovely, and it's going to be absolutely horrible. And well, anyway, if you want to know where I'm going to be, there is a YouTube channel that I follow called CookieJarGolf. I absolutely love their content. They're only small, and there's a friend of mine, Bruce Fitzpatrick, who's part of the setup of CookieJarGolf, and they make these. I won't play too much of it, or I'll get a copyright strike. But they make these beautiful videos. You know, talking about the history of golf clubs, and well, this one's obviously about Rye. I was watching it again earlier on today. It is a lovely video, 5 or 6 minutes of your time, and you'll come away from it, especially if you have any warm feelings towards golf, with those warm feelings being positively heated up. Anyway, so CookieJarGolf, check it out. I think it's a really lovely YouTube experience. Anyway, what else was I going to say? I've got a birthday to do. Let me check my birthday list. Yes, Ellie, it's your birthday today. Many happy returns. Ellie is completing her PhD in just a few weeks' time, and tells us very kindly that the channel has helped with concentration, reducing anxiety. All things we're delighted to hear and surprised and humbled by. But Ellie, I hope you have an absolutely brilliant birthday today, with, of course, chocolate cake with an enormous amount of chocolate icing. And now, with that said and done, let us turn our attention to Icon. I wonder why it's called Icon. Is it? No, I don't know. These are the rules of IcyFruit's new puzzle. So normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. And then we have to divide the grid into rectangular regions which do not overlap. Each region must contain exactly 2 circled cells, and the digits in those cells indicate the width and height of that region in either order. Okay, so if this was a rectangle, let's just think about that for a moment. If that's one of the rectangles, these would have to be a 2 and a 3, but that 2 and 3 could be in either order, is the way I read that rule. And then these lines are between lines. So digits on a line must have a value between the digits in the two attached circles. So let's have a think about that. Let's make that a 2 and this a 6. If this was 2 and this was 6, these two digits would have to be selected from 3, 4 and 5, because they have to have values between the circles on the end of the line. And that's all the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play as the wind howls outside. Let's get cracking. I hope this has been put into the software properly. Actually, I've just seen two things that are very worrying. I've got two circles that don't have any line. Let me just read the rules again. Between the digits and the two attached circles. Okay, I think the rules do allow for circles not to have lines. I was sorry, I was just surprised by that. I am still a bit nervous that I might be doing a broken puzzle. Oh, that is the sound of a tree falling down outside. That's great. Got distracted. Okay, so I presume the way we start this is we must be able to, yeah, okay. I'm going to start, I think, by looking at this, because what I can see is it's not possible to construct a rectangle that has two circles in it if I only allow this a rectangle that goes along the top row. So for this circle to be in a rectangle with two circles in it, it's going to have to at some point go into row 2, isn't it? And in going into row 2, it will have to. There's no way we can build a rectangle. That is not a rectangle. So we have to come down. So these two cells have to be in the same rectangle, I think is what I'm now believing. Right, and now these two cells have to contain the dimensions of the rectangle we're going to draw. Now that could be a very tiny rectangle. I mean, yeah, no, I mean actually it could be a very tiny rectangle. It could be, could it be that? So this would be saying it's in a 1x2 rectangle, literally a domino. And the answer is quite probably, I think, we'd have to get this cell into a rectangle, but this cell could be in a vertical rectangle like this, couldn't it? I.e. this cell can pick up two circles just by being a vertical line. Ah, no, that won't. Ah, that won't work now. Right, hang on, I'm going to change then. Let's have a quick look at the corner cell here. This cell, row 9, column 1, to be in a rectangle with two circles, can't just take row 9. So it must take this square. Oh, now this one. Now this one. Where's this one getting its second circle from? Oh, I suppose. No, it's going to be able to take it from a variety of places. Actually, it could be that, couldn't it? It could be that. I think this one can only marry up with 3 different circles now, because what we can't do is something like that, because that's then got 3 circles in it. So it's either something like that, or that could have another one as well, or something like that, or that could have another series along the row as well. But what the of course, yeah. And why was I starting to look down here? Well, I was looking at this cell, wasn't I? But now this cell cannot join to this one's rectangle, because then this one couldn't have two circles in that rectangle. So that one must join to the orange one. And that one, so this is right, so orange has grown. Orange has grown itself, so now it's at least a 2x2, but it can't be a 2x2 because that would require two 2s in it. So, okay, so the dimensions of this rectangle are, well, these digits are a minimum of 2s each, aren't they? Because we're already at size 2x2. The maximum rectangle we could put in would be that, which is what? A 3x4 rectangle. So these squares have to be 2, 3, or 4. And what does that mean? Does that have to be... Yes, it does. Okay. Right, so I'm going to have a look at row 5, column 1's actual size now, bearing in mind the minimum value of this circle is 2. And therefore the minimum value of the digits on the line would be... Oh no, hang on, that doesn't work. I was going to say 3, 4, 5. But if this was... If these squares were 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be broken. So 2, 3, say 4, 5, 6 is the minimum. So the minimum value of this, I think, is 7. So this is 7, 8, or 9. Oh, right, and that's the 7 that this circle is. Well, it can't be a vertical stripe now. So this is a horizontal. This is the horizontal component of the rectangle of which row 5, column 1 is part. So we've got to do something like that. Right. And what does that mean? Well, that means... Yeah, this rectangle, the purple rectangle, it must... It's definitely got a height of 2, I think, because if the rectangle needs to move out of row 5, if it moves up, it's going to pick up this rectangle, and then it couldn't go up again, could it? And if it goes down, it's going to pick up this rectangle, and then it can't go up or down because it will pick up more circles. So, right, this is interesting. So one of these two cells is a 2. Depending on which way purple goes. And if one of these is a 2, whichever one is a 2, is going to force this circle to be at least 4. Because it couldn't go down, could it? It couldn't be 2, 1. We can't put 0 in there. That's just not going to work. Now, if this was 2, 3, 4, this would be at least 5. Oh, look at that. If this is 2, it would go 3, 4, 5 at least. Now, if this is 5, it couldn't be a vertical 5, because that's going to run it into purple. So this would be a horizontal 5. I was going to say that's impossible, but it's not impossible, actually. It could do that. It's very difficult for that to be a horizontal 5. Ah, no, could it get that one? No, it's not difficult. It's not difficult. No, in fact, it's probably getting that one, isn't it? Because the situation where this is 5 is when the purple comes downwards. And then this one is available to marry up with this circle. This is brilliant. This is a beautiful rule, by the way. Because, I mean, you can see how these... It's a very natural interaction between the sort of idea of the rectangle building and the circles, and how the digits on the line interact to force the dimensions of the rectangles to change again. So this is at least 4. So if it was 4, it would be, it could be that. So it could be that or something like that. That circle has 3 different lines emanating from it. That looks like it's a very meaningful line, doesn't it? That's got at least 3 cells. Yeah, it's got 3 cells on the same line in row 6. So the difference between these 2 circles is at least, well, it could be, say, 1 and 5 with 2, 3, 4 in the middle. But that wouldn't work, because obviously one of these would have to be, if that was oh no, that could work, because just because these are on the same line doesn't mean they're in the same rectangle. Do we know what that is now? If we know that's quite little. Not sure. Do we know? Not sure. I mean, it feels like this one's might well be bigger than this one, but I'm not sure it has to be. If that was 4, I mean, you could repeat a digit there. That could be 4 double 3, and that could even be 2, couldn't it? Although that might break that square by Sudoku. 4, 3, 2, that could be a 1. I mean, it's not clear to me that that's forced. What's going on down here? We've got... Yeah, see, this also doesn't look brilliant, because this can go upwards, or it could go sideways. Although those 2 digits have to be between the dimensions, don't they? That's quite interesting. Okay. So, yeah, this might be, right, more restricted than I realised, because what I'm now seeing is that the maximum height of the rectangle formed by in green is 4, isn't it? And the maximum sort of length or width is 5. So these digits are from 1, 2, 3, 4, and oh, sorry, these digits. I didn't deserve that confetti, so I'm not singing. These cells are from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but it's not that simple, because these 2 digits have to be between these digits. So yeah, this is interesting. So imagine one of these was a 2. This would have to be a 2-5 pair, because these would have to be 3 and 4. Because they must sit between possible values for the height and width of the rectangle that we're building. Right, here's something else. If one of these was a 1, then that's specifying a rectangle, a vertical rectangle, isn't it? Because the width or height of 1 must be vertical, because these 2 are definitely in the rectangle. We can't apply the width this way if we've already got 2 cells in the vertical plane. So if one of these is a 1, but these have to be at least, well, they have to be 2 digits here that are greater than 1, so these could be 2, 3. This would have to be a 1-4 pair. So this is right. So this rectangle, this is, well, the only bad thing about this is that this rectangle is either very vertical and it's a 1-4 pair, or it's very horizontal and it's a 2-5 sort of block like that. And that's very annoying, because that literally allows us to draw in no more cells of the rectangle. It's literally either that or that. No, okay. And these 2 digits then are either a 2-3 pair, or if this is a 2-5 pair, they're a 3-4 pair. Right, so they've definitely got 3 on them. Right, I see. Look, now I've got a 2, 3, 4 triple in column 2. What does that do for those digits? Yes, these digits have to be higher than 4 now. So this is at least 5, 6, 7. So this is now at least 8, which means the purple thing goes across. Now, can we... I know what it's going to be. Right, if we go... What would happen if that's purple? Surely we're going to isolate the wrong number of cells in some way, aren't we? What I mean is the wrong number of circles. We've got to have an even number of circles in any full division of the grid to pair them up in rectangles. So if we did that, then this would actually have to come down, wouldn't it? Because it couldn't go up, or it would have 3 circles in it. So it would have to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's fine. That's right. Bother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that okay, that might be possible, which means it's probably correct. So that would be a 9 here and a 2 here. That would push that up to 5. What are those digits then? These digits are from 5, 6, 7 and 8, depending on what this value is. So if this was 1, 4, that would be a 1 by Sudoku. Ah, right. That's not a 2. Sorry, I realised there was a long pause there where I was staring at that. That is not a 2. Because if that is a 2, I think this purple thing gets sandwiched. Might be wrong, but that's what I thought when I just looked at this. If this is a 2, I can't put 2 in the borders here. So this has to be a 1 and a 4, which means it's this shape. But this is now a 3, 4 pair, so this rectangle up here is that shape. Like that. And now this can't get another circle. So that's not a 2. So there's a 2 up here now. Okay, right. So that's telling us this one, this rectangle, is either too wide or too tall. So it's either a 2 by 3 and these two are going to join it, or it's a 3 by 2 or a 4 by 2. If that's a 4, this will be 2, 5 again, so it'll be this shape. This will be 2, 3, but could be in either direction. Good grief. This is quite tricky, actually. Let me just think about this. Can we prove that that has to be higher than that now? Or is the logic on that unaffected by the fact that we know there's a 2 in one of these squares? Let me think about that then. We know one of these is... I mean, obviously, if this top digit is a 2, this has to be higher. That's very clear, because we can't... You can never... Yeah, I mean, the one trick about between lines, these line cells, is they can never have 1 or 9 on them. Because if they do, you'd have to... Imagine you put 9 there. What digit are you going to have to put here? A digit higher than 9 in order to definitely capture this within the sandwich we're building. And that there are no digits in Sudoku higher than 9, or at least not in this Sudoku. And similarly, there are no digits lower than 1. So if this is 2, this is definitely higher. If this is 3, this is 2, and we can't put 1 on the line, so this is definitely higher. But if this is 4, how's that going to work? That's then going to be 2. So this could be 3. It's got to be It's got to be lower than this digit. If this is going to be lower, then that would have to now be 1 because it can't be 2 or 3. And now that digit would be 2 or 3. That digit down there would be 3. Now, what's wrong with that? I suspect the answer is nothing. This rectangle would be this shape. This would be a 3, and this couldn't now be a 1, 4. So this would be 2, 5. And it would be this sort of shape. I can't see, again, just exploring the options here to try and work out where the constraints lie. If that's very... Is there... maybe there's a reason this can't be a 1, actually. I hadn't thought about that. If this is a 1, it has to be in a rectangle with this, doesn't it? Because there are no rectangles in its vertical plane. So maybe that's the problem. If this is a 1, this would have to be... I don't think that's a problem. It's got to be at least a 5 into this square, but it can be. In fact, it's going to be a 5 or a 6, isn't it? Well, okay, I can't. Okay, it's interesting. It's very interesting, but I haven't quite got it yet. So, is there? I don't know. I don't know. Could we? Maybe it's the other way round. Maybe if this is big, there's a problem. Just because of the amount of space over here. I don't know. I feel that feels very unlikely to be true. But if that's 2, you could double 3 this, couldn't you? That would be 4. This would be at least 5. 5 is quite difficult, but not impossible by any manner or means. It could join that one, couldn't it? Okay, sorry. What about... what about trying to... Maybe there's a problem with some divisions of the grid in terms of rectangle building. I quite like the idea I had earlier about cutting off the grid with purple. Maybe that's it. So if we had that shape... Yeah, these... Well, then... This would have to join up at the top of the grid with a rectangle. But that seems quite plausible, actually. Alright, let's try the other one. What about if it's that shape? Now, 2, 3... Now this... No, if it's that shape, this one would have to join downwards, so this would be a rectangle. Is that problematic? No, it's still, that could still work, I think. Something, you know, something like this, and then these could join together. We'd obviously have to make sure this worked at the bottom, but I think it could. One of these would be a 2. Ah, this is tricky. This is very, very interesting and quite tricky. What about... What about... I don't know. I don't know what to do. Sorry if this is obvious to you guys as well. It could well be. Oh, I know that. I really like the idea of one of these being a 2 as well, forcing up this value. Is there a way we could... No, I was wondering whether if, for example, this is a 2, whether that necessarily means that this is low. But these two don't have to, no, in fact they wouldn't be in the same rectangle, so there's no particular restriction on the size of this. So if we went 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, could that be part of a 7? Could perhaps be, yeah. Okay, so that's not how to do it either. I don't know. I wonder. There must be, even if this is 1, 4, if this is 1, 4, this is a 2, 3 pair. So 2, 3 and 4 get used up in this. If this is 2, 3, 2, 3, 4 get used up in this. So these two digits definitely, these two digits here definitely appear in those, in 2 of those 3 cells. Which means they definitely appear in 2 of those 3 cells. But that doesn't matter because they're not in circles and they're not on lines. Wow, okay, so that doesn't help me. I'm going to come back to this. I think there must be a way of proving whether this is higher or lower. We worked out, didn't we, if this is 2, this is at least 4. There's no rule, is there, that says no. I wondered for a moment whether if we couldn't repeat a digit on a line, that's quite an interesting restriction, isn't it? But that rule doesn't exist, I don't think. So that's not how to do it. Yeah, if you couldn't repeat a digit on here, then if this was 4, that would be 2. That could be 3. No, it still would work. That could still be a 1, I think. Unless there's a way to remove 4. If this is 4, we know that this is doing at least that, don't we? Maybe I've got to combine all these things. So because if this is 3, that's 2, and then this has no fill, and that will be higher. So that maybe this is what we've got to do. So if this is 4, this is 2, we know we're in a world where this is a rectangle. We know we're in a world where that's a rectangle. We know we're in a 2, 5 world down here, don't we? So we know this is 3, we know this is 2, 5, so this is a rectangle that we're building. Golly gosh, look, you'd have to have... Yeah. You'd have an amazing rectangle down here. Because this square here couldn't be part of green and couldn't be part of purple, so it would have to be part of a horizontal domino, but this would then need a second circle, so that would be forced. That would be forced to be a rectangle in this puzzle, and you'd have to put 1 and 9 into those squares, which would be in very, very, easy positions, I suppose. Good grief. Okay. Okay, so that would be a 2. 3, 4. That would be at least a 5. That would be a horizontal stripe. And would we know anything? Would we know actually about the value of this? I don't think so. I think we'd have something. Yeah, we'd have something coming down that. Oh, okay, so maybe that's another thought we could do. Ah, okay, I've had another thought. Sorry, I'm playing around with this, trying to work out how to do it. What rectangle is that in? Oh, this is quite an important thought. And well, I'm saying it's quite an important thought. I think it is quite I've spotted one thing that rules out from this, which is a 1. So maybe I can use this to my advantage. Yeah, this clearly can't be part of orange, because that's going to force this to be part of orange as well. That's a third circle. So it's got to be part of a rectangle that joins up with stuff in row 2. So that's definitely blue. Now, can I do the same with that square then? Yes, I'm going to be able to do the same with these two squares. These two squares, these all have to be... I'm not saying, by the way, that blue and yellow aren't in... Well, I actually am saying that blue and yellow aren't in the same rectangle, because that rectangle would include this. But, yeah, in fact, so far, this is all fine. I think all these colours are in different rectangles. So this is now at least... Yes, I think the first thought I had here, which is that this can't be a 1, is now valid. When I say the first thought, it was probably a thought I had after about 34 minutes, but this can't be a 1. Because that would imply it's a vertical strand, and that's not going to pick up a second circle. So this is itself at least a 2. If it was a 2, that would be a 2. Because we know there's a 2 in one of these. So it's not a 2, this is at least a 3. It's at least a 3. But we don't know if that's applying to its height. Okay, but if it's at least a 3, don't I now know for sure that this is lower than it? Yes, because if that's a 3, I can't fill this in. I mean, we're going to if that's 2 or 4, there's nothing to fill the line with. This is big. This is big. I'm a bit disappointed in myself, actually, because I think this has been available for a while. I just didn't. My instinct was to look at this circle instantly that I knew it was a relatively low number, because my instinct was, oh, I can prove this is a high number. But it turns out you can't do that without the additional knowledge that this cell is definitely in this circle, which is a really obvious point once you put this all together. But because this is probably the first puzzle I've done with this rule set, it just didn't occur to me to think about it this way. It's brilliant. It's beautiful, beautiful setting. Right, so now what is the value of this? And do we actually know? It can't be 3 anymore, can it? Because we know this is higher than this. So we could make this 2, but then there would be nothing to fill the line with. So this is at least 4 now. And the only way it can be 4 is if this is 2 and both of these squares are 3. And that doesn't work. Let me show you. If that's 2 and this is 4 and both of these are 3, what's that digit? Sees everything. It has no value. So in fact, I'm now thinking this is at least 5, and that feels like a bit of a breakthrough, because if this is at least 5, that's not applying to its vertical dimension hood, which would run it straight into purple. So this is now going across this way. Oh, this is... Well, could it run into that now? No. No. Oh, this is so clever. Look, this is at least 5. We've worked that out. So I've sort of penciled in where it can go, because it's definitely not orange, it's definitely not yellow. But if we make this blue now, so we extend this to this, the dimensions of the rectangle is then at least a 4 by a 5. Well, how do we fill that in without picking up another circle? We can't. There's no way we can do it. 4 by 5 would be something like that, and that's got 3 circles in it. There's no way to not pick up another circle. So that actually means that this is not in the blue circle, which means that that is a valid line we could draw. This is stopping. Ah, Well, hang on. Now that means that's a 2. Because once this has been prevented from coming down into row 3, it's a 2 high circle. So one of its circles needs to be a 2. And the only circle it can get now is this one. So this is a 2, which means that's a 2. This is a 5 or a 6, depending on whether it takes this square. Right, so these line cells now are 3, 4, or 5. Oh, nearly. This yellow circle has got to come down, so it's picking up this circle. So one of these is a 1 now for its dimension. The other is at least 4. What is... Well, okay, I'm going to fill in some values for the digits on the between line between this circle and this circle, because these squares have to be 3, 4, and 5, and that means this is beautiful setting. IcyFruit. This constructor is something quite exceptional. Look at what this does. 3, 4, 5, that square's got to be a 6 now, and that tells us that the rectangle grows, and that gives us the dimensions of our first known rectangle. It's that. Okay, so now this rectangle is a 2, which is its horizontal, its width, if you like. So this is at least 3, so it's coming up to here at least. So what's picking up this square? This square can't be part of purple, can't be part of blue, and can't be part of orange. So this is a new rectangle that must have these cells in it. There's nowhere else it can go. So this is some sort of new rectangle, which is, oh, I see, which has got a height of 2. So that's a 2. Let me just check that. I think that's right, because this square's clearly a new colour. And we can't not take this, because we need 2 circles, and the only 2 circles we can get are those 2. So that is a valid deduction, I think. So that's got to be a 2. Oh, I see. And now those 2 squares can't be part of anything apart from orange, which means that that means that's a 4. So we get a 3, 5 pair here. This square is at least a 5 now, but it could be... No, in fact it is a 6, isn't it? Because these 2 squares here can't be part of anything else. So that's another rectangle that we've just managed to isolate. This is a rectangle that we've managed to isolate. We now know that purple's going to come down, but we don't yet know its full... No, we don't. We don't know its full width. It could be... It could stop here. No. No, it can't, for a beautiful reason, which is that if it did... Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong as well. No, okay. No, I thought what I was thinking was that this red thing doesn't come to here. And that is true, because one of these would be a 1 in that case, and they would clash with the ones up there. So that's true, but what that doesn't prevent is yellow coming down here. So it still isn't the case necessarily that purple comes all the way along to here. Alright, let's think about other things we can do then. What could we do instead of this? We could write 2 by Sudoku into box 2. It's got to go there. So 2 in one of these. If the 2 was here, one of these would be a 1. This is a 3. I think that's the least useful deduction actually that we could extract from this column, this being a 3, because we don't... Oh, hang on. This can't be a 1-4 pair anymore, because it would bump into purple, so it must be the 2-5 option. So that's the 2-5 option. These squares are 2 and 5. That square is a 4. 4 lives in one of these squares by Sudoku. 2 lives in one of these squares, which is one of those 2 by Sudoku. This is a jolly good rectangle, which we can build. Right, so what is this being part of? Yeah, that's it. Look, we are in this world that we thought about earlier. So this one's rectangle must pick up this circle, and the only second circle that can form a rectangle with this is that. So there is a stripe all the way along this row that does something like this. Have I got a better colour that I can use? No, I'm going to use grey. I can still see the lines. So this is a 1-9 pair. Oh, look, and we've got a 1 in yellow. So this is 9. This is 1. That puts no pressure at all on the between line. Obviously 1 and 9 are the most extreme digits we can have. So this red one is now forming this rectangle, which means these two squares have got to be a 2-4 pair. We can fill in more rectanguleage like that, fill in the edge here, and we still don't know. Well, do we? This is either a 1-6 pair or oh yeah, okay, I see. So if we think about the nature of yellow now, it's either stopping here and purple is coming out to these squares. In fact, that's always a 2, I've just noticed. Should have seen that earlier. Or yellow's coming down and taking both of these squares, which means these squares are from 1, 4 and 6. But 4 and 6 look at that square. So that is the 1. This is 4 or 6. Nearly. I thought that couldn't be 6 for a moment, because that would, look how much pressure that would put on this between line. These two digits would have to be between 6 and 9. It'd have to be a 7-8 pair. 2 is there. I've just noticed. We've got a lot of 2s in the grid. How many 2s have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We know, there's a 2-4 pair here, so that's 5. So that's a 2 now. Can we can fill these in. We can just do all the 2s. The 2s all fill themselves in. Didn't even have to do anything really. Okay. So these digits down here are from 5, 6, 7 and 8. I know that's slightly desperate, but I am feeling slightly desperate. Okay, there's a 1 in one of those. There's a 1 exactly there in column 2. Oh, I see. Right. Where are 1 and 9 in box 6? They can't, remember, they can't ever go on between lines, so I think they're a pair in these two positions. I wish I knew what this was. That's now not 9. Oh, hang on, I must know what that is because we've built this rectangle. It's 6. It's a 2 by 6 rectangle. So this isn't 6. This square here is 3 or 5 only. And this looks like it's a triple, but that actually, my highlighting isn't very helpful here because this box is obviously different from this box. There is a 3, 4, 5 triple in box 2. That's not a 6 by Sudoku. Can we do any better than this? I really want to know which way round this goes. That 6 is not in a box with this, is it? It's really not. Okay, so we might have to resort to some Sudoku in a moment or two. That can't be a 1. We've got these squares are 7, 8 and 9 in some order. That's not able to be 9. That one can be anything. That one can currently be anything depending on upon the nature of this one. Where is... No, that's a bad question. I'm not asking that question. Where is... I don't know. Okay, let's have a look at these two digits. They've got to be from 3, 4 and 5. We've got loads of digits in this puzzle that have to be from 3, 4 and 5. Can we do anything useful with this? So if that's 4, that's a 3, 5 pair. And No, sorry, I'm not quite seeing it still. Where is 4 in box 9? The answer is I don't know. It's in one of 2 places. Let's double click 4, see if we can do any better. There's definitely a 4 in this domino, isn't there? That is true, because that is a 3-4-5 triple. So 4 lives in one of 3 places in box 3, but I'm going to pencil mark that and hope. 6, no, 6 is in one of 2 places in box 1. Maybe 1s, are they going to be friendly to us? Yes, yes they are. Where is 1 in box 9? That's a valid question. It can't go on a line, can it? So it goes there. That's alright, this has done it. This has actually done it, believe it or not, because now that's putting 4 in the corner. And why do I really care about that? It's because it makes that a 6, which tells me yellow is 1 by 6. It's not 1 by 4, so we can fill that in. Now this is great, because that must be 8, and that puts the most pressure on this line, which can't have 8 on it anymore. So that's 5, 6, 7, which means we've not put 8 and 9 into this column. So this is, oh, and there's a 9 here. Right, so that's 9, that's 8. These 2 squares are 6 and 7. Let's fill that in. That's not 4 anymore by Sudoku. This 6 and 9 are on the same line, so these squares have to be a 7-8 pair. And that also, oh, this also has to be a 7 or an 8, and it can't be an 8. So that's a 7. This square is from 3, 4, and 5, I want to say, just to complete the Sudoku implications. That's not a 7 anymore. So in column, yeah, that's not a 4 anymore, actually, in this column, because the 4 must be in one of these 3 places. So we found a 4 in box 3. And we haven't placed 6, 8, and 9. So oh, where's 6? Has that been available for? No, it's not been available for ages, but it is available now. That gets me a 6 and a 7 over there. This can't be 7 anymore. These are 5, 3, 8. Oh, hang on. 3 and 5 there, so that's a naked single. 8, 5, 3 gets me a 7 up here. That's now a 9. This is an 8, using the power of the 8 that we finally established on this line. Okay, so what are those digits? They are an 8-9 pair. What are these digits? These are a 3 and a 5. Opportunity for a 3 in the corner. Well, 3, 4, 5 triple in this row, so that's got to be a 7. And that now the 6 and the 5 are resolved by this. That 5 is giving me a 3, so that's a 4. Come on, keep going now. That 8's doing some work. That's 8, that's 7. I want to resolve this 1, 9. I feel that's sort of outstanding. That's 8 by Sudoku. That's 8 by Sudoku, so these digits should be known, shouldn't they? 3 and 7. Well, we know they're 3 and 7, but we don't know the order. What about those two? They are 1 and 9. So these two have got to be something else, 5 and 6. That 3 is useful. That's giving me a 5, which does the 5 and the 6. So we can take 5 out of these 2 squares. We can now take 4 out of the corner. Yes, yes. What's that digit in the corner? Well, because that's got to be 5, that's got to be... That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Very nice. Right, that's a 3 by Sudoku. That's a 4 by Sudoku. These are 7 and 9, which we know the order of. 7, 9. Let's have a look. What have we got? 5 and 8. Yeah, we can do that. 5, 8, 6, 1, 8, 9, 9, 1, 3, 5. Oh, this is very, very enjoyable now, he says, hoping there's no mistake in this grid. 1, 7, 9 up there. Let's fill them in. Ah, total shank. What on earth am I filling in there? 1, 7, 9. There we go. Oh, in fact, look. That's a naked single 1. So that's 7 or 9, but it's on a funny line, so it can't be 9. So that's 7, that's 9. Has that helped us? Probably, he says. I don't know. Let's have a look at the middle of this row. We need 4 and 5. Yeah, that's helpful. So that's 5, that's 4, that's 4, that's 3, that's 3, that's 7. That's 7, that's 1, that's 1, that's 9. So that's 9, and that's something. 6. And that is possibly, yes. Brilliant. That is, no, I mean, that puzzle is not possibly brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. I loved that. That is so, I mean, that rule set could have legs, actually. Because there's so much interesting stuff with the way that somebody like Marty Sears gets their hands on this. There could be all sorts of shenanigans being played. I love that IcyFruit. Thank you so much for joining the Sudoku community. I don't know if you're the sort of second pseudonym of another established setter or not, but you are producing things that to me are a complete delight, and I really thank you for that. That's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Let me know in the comments if you had a go and how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.